Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast. This is the Stuff I Heard podcast, and I'm your host, Josh Peak. And I happen to be Zooming today with my brother, Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hey.
You look kind of fresh there outside with your gun showing.
Oh, well, man, it's beautiful out here. The sun is shining, and we actually had a really big rainstorm come through this morning, like 5 a.m. that woke me up. But now the sun is shining, the skies are blue, so I thought, why not sit out on my balcony while I listen to the birds chirping?
Yeah, I haven't been to your new house yet. I'm hoping to do that when the coronavirus thing clears.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a great place here. We downsized, just trying to do the right thing while we still can, and pay off a bunch of stuff while the kids are still really little. And so we downsized to, I say downsize, I mean it's still 2,200 square feet, townhome. We got a huge back deck, a nice little yard for the kids to play in, this balcony that I'm sitting on. So
How weird is it that you downsized just before this crazy epidemic?
oh man, I'm telling you, like it's I was actually just thinking about that yesterday, how the other house that we were in had a few more places to escape, like if you needed some alone time, just to be quiet, like if I wanted to do this, or read a book, or I'm actually trying to learn to play the guitar during the quarantine. And the old house would have allowed you to do that in a lot more spaces, and this one there's not too many places to escape to. There's no bonus room or anything like that. But at the same time, we have been able to stockpile a little bit more, and because we aren't spending as much in mortgage and utilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I'm sure a lot of people wish they had done before this. The crazy part is like when I run into people at work who say, "Oh yeah, I was just building a house. Now what?" I'm like,
oh
"Oh,
my
geez."
gosh, I know, right when quarantine started, right when they started first issuing the stay at homes, I have a few friends who were in the process of closing on houses.
Yeah,
Luckily they were still able to go through with that, otherwise, I mean, like, they would have been homeless. So
yeah.
really, really crazy, but very fortunate to be in the situation that we're in, and to be blessed to have a place to be at. And so, but hey, so
Well,
big day for you. Happy
big day.
anniversary.
Yeah, 15th
That's
anniversary. Love
incredible.
time. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks. Um, it's I was kind of curious if she wanted to do one later today to kind of talk about it, but at the same time, she's probably like, "No, I don't." Oh.
No, I just want to hang out. Let's
Well, I mean, it sort of cannibalizes your life after a while if you just create content all the time. It's like, can we just not, which
right,
I
right,
totally
right.
get that, but it's convenient in the fact that, yesterday I did two while she was at work. She had to go into the office, which is rare. But it being a Friday, they needed her in there so they could let some of the hourly people go home. And she was able to do some work from there. That allowed me to have two podcasts with Ron White and with Josh Treadaway back to back. And then she's at the gym now. Actually, not the gym. She's going over a friend's house and they're going to do the Facebook Live thing with an instructor.
Right. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people doing that.
Yeah. So one of them's got a smart TV on their back patio. And
Oh,
so they're going to
nice.
go work out on the back patio and social distancing and all that fun stuff. But, be able to work out kind of together. And they need that motivation. Everybody needs that motivation at some point,
Yeah.
just to have an excuse to, hey, get out of bed and let's go do something. And she made a comment yesterday. After going to work, she ran by the store and then brought us something home for dinner. We've been trying to like order something locally every
Mm,
Friday to
yeah.
at least support business one day a week. I mean, that's that's about what we normally do on an average, even when it's not quarantine time. But I was like, let's keep feeding some money into the economy in the local area and keep people working. And everybody talks about, the local business owners and all that, but you've also got, your regular chain stuff that has local people working in it that still need to work. And, so we went to Five Guys and got dinner last night, which is, kind of a chain, but also there's local people working there. So,
Right. Yeah, we actually had we're kind of doing the same thing. We're doing a lot of cooking and stuff at home. But at the same time, we are, like you said, we're trying to go out and get curbside pickup or DoorDash delivery or whatever you may do. We're doing that like once a week. And we actually had that discussion, like, should we order from a private local business, or do we order from a chain because those are local people working there? And so we've kind of found a healthy balance. Most of our favorite restaurants are local anyway, so
Yeah.
So we do have a fine balance, like Scarlett, she doesn't like normal food, so we support McDonald's by getting their French fries. But the rest of us like normal food, so we also get food from local businesses as well.
Yeah. I'm nervous about places like Disney and, the cruise industry and stuff like that. These big places that normally have a lot of people in them, concert events, sporting events. What's going to be their move forward? I'm really unsure about how that's going to look in the future. But, for the longest time, it was all about crowding people in as tightly as possible.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
curious what's going to happen.
you see how it's like some of these industries have shifted to fit more people. Uh, Airplanes are a prime example. I
Yeah.
mean, when I first started flying back when you were in California, I can remember being able to stretch my legs just fine. And now, whenever I fly out of California, I mean, I'm stuffed in there like a sardine. I mean, they have increased, the seats on planes by 30% or something like that. It's crazy. So, you're right. How does that look going forward? And do you limit people? I was talking to Mom yesterday, and what worries me the most about all this stuff is that while I do understand that people need to get back to work, especially people that own private businesses and they need a way to make money, I just worry that our government is going to feel pressure to open back up too soon. Um, there's not a switch. You can't just say, all right, snap the fingers and everything's back to normal. There's got to be a progression, I think. And I don't know what that looks like. But, I read a report this morning from the BBC that, there was a big city on the other side of the world that tried to reopen too soon. And like within a day, they saw 138 new cases.
Yeah.
So, it's worrisome, but we do have to figure something out for sure.
Yeah. And of course, it also, with the idea that it can live on surfaces and then be passed on way after the fact, it kind of makes me wonder, what are the cleaning measures going to be of everything that we interact with, whether it's door handles or kiosks or anything like that. I mean, Disney, for a long time, when you go up to check in at Disney World, they have a thing where you use your fingerprint. You put your finger on a little thing. Are they going to clean that every time you go through? Or are they going to have to get rid of that fingerprint thing? I mean, that fingerprint thing was actually a very secure way of tying your wristband onto your fingerprint onto your card, so that all you have to do is you could pay for things using your wristband all throughout, and you can unlock your doors and everything else, and it was very secure. Without the fingerprint thing, it's like, all right, I guess if you've got this band on, maybe it'll work. I mean,
right. Yeah. And yeah, I think you're right. We're going to see a lot of people going back to, like what Disney used to use, the key card, and you would swipe it. And I know that's a lot easier to forge, but like you said, I mean, if a million or 10,000 people are putting their fingerprint on something every day.
Well, and what are rides going to be like? Are they going to have to wipe down every time somebody gets off a ride, and they're going to touch every surface? I mean,
right, which
that's
extends
really
lines even longer. And
yeah, I mean, or are they going to develop some kind of sanitization process where it's automated? And if so, they have to put all the rides down in order to implement something like that.
Right, and then I'm starting to see some things where people are suggesting, well, we'll start taking temperature at the door. Well, you can be asymptomatic for 2 to 3 weeks, so temperature doesn't matter. I mean, you might walk in and feel fine, but you may be carrying something.
You're basically Oprah Winfrey going, "You get a disease, you get a disease, everybody gets a disease."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, well, and that is the idea of, then you go, okay, well, obviously the answer is a vaccine, but then like you got to wait for a vaccine to be implemented and created, and so
you have to battle anti-vaccination stuff and all that.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe it'll all be different once we have a vaccine. Maybe once we're vaccinated, it'll be like, all right, that's just another thing we have to get now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you take smallpox as an example. I mean, it eradicated the world, and we got a vaccine, and it eradicated smallpox, and now that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't.
Until the anti-vaxxers decided, oh no, it's making my kids stupid. No, you're stupid.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I watched the thing the other day on polio, how polio is making a comeback, and I'm like, wait, polio's coming back?
Yeah, it was gone, completely gone.
I had heard about polio in school, vaguely, but I was like, well, what is polio? And then the show went in depth about what polio was. I was like, oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, that's horrible. It's horrible.
That is a terrifying disease to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing that I discussed with a buddy the other day that I really hope kind of comes out of this whole quarantine thing is I hope that companies and businesses and superiors and stuff like that. I hope now that we've been at home, when things do go back to a new normal or whatever that normal looks like, that we do start to value the idea of family a little more. A couple of CEOs and big business owners have been saying that they're seeing the same level of production from their workers working from home. And we went from, I kind of joked around, we went from being quarantined in an office, having to be in a cubicle from 9 to 5 every day, to now being quarantined at home, and we're still getting the same amount of work done. Production levels are still happening. So I'm hoping that when all this kind of levels out, that maybe we'll start to see the value of being able to spend time with your family. Because I think about some friends that work in like big metropolitan areas like Atlanta and Charlotte and live on the outskirts. I mean, even if they get off at 5 or 6 o'clock with traffic, they're not getting home till 7:30, 8. And, they're not having any time to spend with their families. So hopefully, maybe they'll be able to work something out where they'll be able to spend some more time at home with their kids and spouses or significant others.
Well, I like to look at every situation on two sides and go, what is the pros and cons?
Right.
And so right away, the cynical side of me goes, well, they're going to, as soon as it's out of sight, out of mind, go, all right, back to the grindstone, fools.
Yep.
Business as usual. Do the thing you were doing before. Here's a flaming hoop. Jump through it.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a break. Now it's time to get, that's kind of the attitude. You had a break. Now it's time to get to it. It's like, what a break.
Right. Yeah, it kind of seems like, and I'm totally with you on that way of thinking. For as long as we can remember, the almighty dollar has ruled everything.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, I do feel there's going to be some people that come out of this like, all right, break's over, back to work.
Yeah, and that was one of the things you and I talked about, when you were going into coaching, that was a thing that was hard to wrap our heads around, mom and me also. She started talking about, well, why isn't he doing this? Why is he doing that? And I said, it's a different job. It's a different, there's different parameters to what the job is. It's not like you can go punch in the clock early and put in extra time and that's how you make your living. It's not done that way.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, but I just don't understand. I said, exactly. Because we've had a job where you punch a clock and I said, his job isn't like that. It's a totally different job. I said, but isn't that what you wanted? You wanted him to chase his dream, and he has a dream and he's following it. And she's like, yeah. And I go, okay, well, suck it up.
Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of hard to, it's funny you say that. It was hard to get some people to understand, that I may not work on, a Friday afternoon, but I may work 8 to 8 Saturday. Or during the summertime, I may not coach, after school, April and May, but I'm up there for 6 hours, June and July, when we don't have school.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's just a different kind of hours. Like, I'm still putting in 60 hours a week. They're just different than 9 to 5.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that was her thing with me as well, with my job. I'd get home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she's like, "Oh, early day." I'm like, "Yeah, because I got up at 2 a.m."
That's right. Yeah, I've been up for 13 hours. This is
I'm about to go to bed soon.
Yeah, that's right. I get home at 3 o'clock so that I can eat dinner at 4 and be in bed by 6:30.
Well, you talk about the fact that this is my 15th anniversary with my wife, and that was one of the things that she and I had to discuss whenever this job was set up that way. Is I was like, I had to draw a clock on a piece of paper and go, you get up at this time, I get up at this time. So our hours are like this. And she was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. I said, I'm not trying to be insensitive. It's like, I got to go to bed now. So it's like, I'm pulling a parachute going, good night.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, it's, it was very hard to wrap our heads around your work schedule to try and understand when you had time off. And I tried not to bother you. I just text you and be like, hey, you good?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you're busy because you got basketball and volleyball. Whenever you're not busy, call me or text me.
During basketball season, Mom always, hey, I miss you. And I'm like, well, I miss you too. And she's like, well, could we maybe, work out something this weekend? I was like, well, I have a game Friday night that I won't be home till about 10:30. And then I have practice 2 o'clock on Sunday. So if you want to try to get together Saturday, that'd be great.
I have an hour. I can slot you in.
That's right. Yeah. Basketball season's always been a crazy time, because my staff, they work really hard, and the kids, they work really hard, and they're really dedicated to trying to get better every day. And that means time. You can't just get better by showing up for an hour.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time and preparation and a lot of meeting time with coaches, and um, but we also I'm I learned very early on in coaching. One of the best things I ever heard was, when there's work to be done, do it, and when there's not, be with your family.
Yeah.
And so we send our guys home, and we promote a huge family atmosphere around the arena. My kids are always there. My other assistant coach that has kids, his kids are always there. We invite little brothers and sisters to come to practice and hang out. We want people to feel like, if they're coming to practice, it's not work. Like they can come in, they're babysitting their little brother. He can come and hang out on the side of the court and watch practice.
Yeah.
That's always been important to us. So,
Well, and that's one of the things, I don't know if mom's ever said it, but that's one of the things that I got whenever I would recognize that she got an achievement. In a way, I thought of it as, well, this is sort of an achievement for all of us, because we all kind of had a part in taking burdens off of her to do other things. And in a way, family is supposed to be like that. So, here at the house, whenever I got an achievement or whatever at work, I made a point to tell the boys, I said, look at the award that we got. And they're like, you got the award. I said, no, it took all of us for me to be able to do this, because everything plays a part. Everything, whether it's taking out the
every
trash or
little
making
bit.
dinner or doing homework or doing what you're supposed to do when, the right time, you got to take the step back and go, I couldn't do this if all these other steps didn't happen along the way. And, especially being a coach and a teacher, you're busy a lot of times, where it's like, I don't have time to run the kids around like I wish I could. And this is the thing I got to do to make the money so we all get to eat and live under this house. And, I'll catch up with you as soon as I can. But right now I got to go do this thing.
Yeah. It was, that was actually another big, financially, obviously, but another big push to move out of the house we were in, is it had a huge yard. And that yard took me 2.5, 3 hours to take care of on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And like my only day with the kids. The yard I have now takes me, maybe 45 minutes. And, that was just, I felt like that was time wasted.
Yeah.
I could be inside or going to the park or whatever, hanging out with my kids. And instead I was out there on a lawnmower and pulling weeds and doing 2.5 hours worth of yard work when I had been at work all week. So
Yeah. It's nice having property, but like you said, it's time. You got to exchange time for the care. And if you want it to look like you want it to look, you got to stay out there, and it's an exchange. So,
right.
I think my yard takes me around an hour.
Yeah.
If I hurry it, I can be done in like 35 minutes or so, just driving the lawnmower around and not weed eating. But if I weed eat, I mean, when it's bad, it could take me another hour. Just depends on what's going on. Hey, I bought a battery powered weed eater.
Same. I did too.
I'm actually digging it. The only thing I don't dig is the reel when it run out of string.
Yeah.
I had replacement string, but the replacement string I had is a little too thick for it. So
okay.
I had to like take a drill and modify it so it would fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to sometimes manually pull it out to get it to come out. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. So for years, even when I did landscaping, I always thought that I would have a 2-stroke or, a gas powered weed eater. And I had a Husqvarna forever, and I loved that thing. It was incredible. When I moved and needed to buy a new one, I bought the same thing. But that one finally croaked out on me after 3 years. And so when I was up at Lowe's and I'm kind of looking around at buying a new one, I just immediately went to go grab another Husqvarna, but then I saw the Cobalt battery powered, and I was like, So I did some research and some reviews, and I've had that thing now for almost a year and a half, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
I did break the shield on it the other day by accident, so that kind of sucks. So now stuff just like whips back and hits me in the ankle. So
That's called fun pepper. You're like,
yeah, right. Yeah. So every now and then, like when I'm out near the driveway, Michelle will see me doing a little dance because I'm getting whipped by little pebbles.
Yeah, the other day I was doing it in my flip flops, and Doris was like, "Don't you want to put on shoes?" I go, "No, this makes me feel alive."
Yeah. Too late now. I'm in the weeds.
Yeah, I've already got the abrasions. I'm going to suck it up now.
That's right. Yeah. So, and the battery power lasts a good while, especially in the yard I have now. I mean, I can get 2 or 3 cuts out of one battery life before I have to recharge it. And it usually charges up in the time that it takes me to mow the grass. So
Yeah, mine started with just the blower because I wanted something I could take out on the back porch and blow the back porch off, but I didn't want to have to do a cord every time. The cord was, I had one
I
that was corded and just
yeah,
it was
that
always
is a
in the
pain in the
way. It
neck.
was always a pain in the neck. What?
Oh,
Running out of time. We've removed the 40-minute limit. Oh, good.
I got a thing that says this meeting has been upgraded by the host and now includes unlimited minutes.
Um, I don't know. It just said we've gifted you unlimited time. And I'm like,
Nice,
okay.
cool.
Which I'm
Thanks,
only at
Zoom.
20 minutes. I don't know why I would do that. For those that are listening right now, we just got a weird prompt on the Zoom. We're using Zoom to do this. Um, I don't know why it would prompt me for that information at 20 minutes in. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, the blower was cool. And I watched my neighbor Paul with his cordless, battery powered weed eater. And I was like, so how is it work? I mean, does it last? He's like, oh yeah, it's great. He was showing me all about it. And I was like, okay, I need to, like, I had one that was corded for, just weed eating around. But again, you keep having to replug it in, replug it in, replug it in, replug it in. And then if you need to change the string or something like that, you got to unplug it and take it around,
Right.
plug it back up. And it's like, God, what a pain in the neck. And then you're doing a line and then the wire's in the way and you keep having to move the wire. And again, I had gone with that just because to me, it was a overall more economical way of doing it rather than the gas powered ones, because the gas powered ones were just crapping out on me all the time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm
I'm
happy with
curious
the
to see.
cordless.
Oh, I'm very happy with the battery. I'm
I
curious
also
to
got
see the
a
longevity of it.
hedge trimmer that's cordless too.
Oh, is it battery powered?
Same battery.
What brand are you using?
Ryobi.
Ryobi, nice. Yeah,
It's just the
yeah,
Home Depot version of the Cobalt.
yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
it's decent though, because trimming the hedges. Whenever I'm doing that with the cord's always in the way. I'm always
Yeah.
at risk of cutting the cord, which I've
I know.
actually
I've
done
always
in the
been
past.
afraid of trimming the cord and sparking something in half.
Well, I've done that before, and it shuts off immediately.
I bet.
You're just going away, and all of a sudden, you're like, what happened?
I bet.
Yeah, but yeah, I got the cordless on that as well, and I'm going to be using it soon. But yeah, I'm happy with it so far. I'm surprised. I'm surprised it took me this long to jump on board as much of the fan of the battery powered technology as I am.
Yeah, I guess I thought it wouldn't be as powerful when I first got it, but I mean, I have no issues with it. Like
Yeah,
it's I don't see any difference in my ability to trim grass.
yeah,
So
yeah. So fun fact, I've been off work since I worked Monday and Tuesday, and I've been off
mhm.
since, and I've been sleeping in every day till about 6 or 7. This morning I got up at 4.
Ooh,
I
yeah,
don't know why.
I was up at 5 this morning. I think it was the rain.
I don't know that it rained here, but I woke up at 4 and I was like, well, maybe I'll get up and just pee and lay back down. No, I laid back down and my brain was like, we could just get up. I'm like,
Fine.
fine.
I will say getting up that early, because I mean, like I've never been able to sleep in. Sleeping in for me is 7:30, 8 o'clock. But getting up that early when the house is still quiet, everybody's still asleep, I get to watch things
Yeah.
like movies that I want to see that otherwise I couldn't if the kids are around.
Yeah.
So like I've been going back through and trying to rewatch The Sopranos because I had never seen that all the way through. And gangster shows and gangster movies aren't really great for 3 and 6 year olds.
Not
So
really kid friendly.
no, no, no.
Of course,
Um,
what's the cutoff at 6? So they can start learning when not to run special errands for the guy on the
right.
corner.
I was thinking like 8.
Mm.
Yeah. But like this morning, I actually stopped it in the middle, but I'm watching Anna about some Russian assassin who worked for the KGB in 1990. It's a pretty cool movie, and
When you said Anna, my brain automatically went to the Anne of Green Gables remake.
oh
I think that's Anne,
yeah, I
Anne.
think that's Anne. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But we've watched some pretty cool stuff over the last couple of weeks. We watched Rocket Man yesterday, the Elton John story. That was really great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then the 2 days before that, we watched Yesterday, and that's the movie about the British singer who has an accident and he wakes up and nobody in the world remembers that the
The
Beatles ever
Beatles.
existed,
Yeah.
and
He
he
starts playing all
remembers
their music.
right, and that's another incredible movie.
Yeah.
The music, the story's pretty good, but the music is just fantastic. So, that's been really cool. So being able to actually sit down and watch some movies because, my kids at school, they're like, hey, coach, did you see this movie? I'm like, no, I was here till
What's that one called again?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. I gotta look it up.
Yesterday and Rocket Man. So if you have Apple TV, HBO and Epix are offering like free trials right now. So I watched Rocket Man on Epix, I think, through Apple TV. We don't have Epix, but we do have Apple TV. We got it free for a year when we bought our Apple TV. And then I think we watched Yesterday on HBO, maybe. And that was another free, like, they're doing like they're offering a free section of things that you can watch that they're not offering you to, that you don't have to be a member to watch. So I think that was on there.
So it's not their full library, just a like
So,
a
yeah,
smaller
it's
version.
just like a few of their shows, and then there's a few movies on there that they're offering, like
Yeah.
PG-13 stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We've been watching a lot of Andy Griffith.
nice.
I mean, it's been our go-to every evening, and it's very nice in the fact that you know that every show everything's going to work out. So,
Right.
like if you're getting ready to go to bed and you're watching a show where everything works out at the end, you're like, "Hey, life isn't so bad. This is all right." It's like a warm blanket. You're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
great."
That is nice.
Now, of course, we're Dolores has started at the very beginning, episode 1, and every season has like 30 or more episodes.
Oh my
And she
goodness.
was like, "Geez, was this on every night?" And I was like, "I don't think so. I think it was once a week, but I don't know, maybe." But we got several seasons into it, and by 1968, they're in color, and it's like they're in color now.
Ooh,
Whoa! And it's like,
that's
wait,
cool.
has that carpet always been blue?
It always looked gray to me.
I didn't know the jail was green. The inside of the jail is green.
What do you mean he's wearing a beige shirt?
Yeah. And then you see Luann, who's dating Barney Fife, and she's got red hair. And you're like, has she always had red hair? No way. You know.
Get out of town.
Yeah. Of
Oh
course,
my God.
Barney leaves the show after like 5 seasons or 4 seasons, whatever it is. And before they go to color, he left the show. And Dolores did some research online, and she found out that it was because Andy originally had only agreed to so many years of doing it, so many seasons. And so the contract was up with all of them. And Barney was like, "Well, I need work." Don Knotts, "I need work." So he signed a 5-picture deal with Universal Studios, and so he went off to make movies. And while he was making movies, Andy decided, well, you know what? Let's bring the show back. I guess they came up with a pile of money and said, "Listen, we got a hit show. What would it take to bring you back?"
Let's keep doing it.
Yeah. So he does come back as a guest star in several episodes. And Dolores read that he won 5 Emmys for the show, and
Oh
3 of
wow.
them were after he left the show as guest host.
Oh wow.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
That is. And then Andy Griffith goes on to do Matlock.
Yeah,
Goes from being a sheriff to being a lawyer.
which is interesting because you can
Not a
see
bad gig.
phases of that as it goes along. He starts having more conversations where the camera focuses on him, and it reminds me of seeing him as Matlock,
Yeah.
having conversations with people where he's like, and he's
Yeah.
real in-depth conversation kind of thing, and he's doing more stuff with his eyes with the camera. And I kept telling Dolores in the beginning, I was like, God, he looks a lot like Ronald Reagan, like as an actor. They
Yeah,
look
I
real
could see
similar.
that.
Their hairstyle was similar. They were both real tall men, dark hair,
Yeah,
lanky, you know.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I haven't, like, scrolling through stuff lately, I haven't found anything that I want to watch. I had caught up to the animated Star Wars Clone Wars at like season 7, episode 6 or
Yeah,
7.
I think I may be one behind on that now on the new season.
Yeah. I've thought about just waiting until this whole thing
Like they're
ends
all
because
yeah.
I enjoyed binge watching it where one plot or the story would just continue and
Right.
you wouldn't have to remember what happened last week. You just keep watching it all the way through. Um, I mean, I know they're still coming out with them because they send me little updates. Hey, the new episode, and I'm like, yeah, I just want to wait.
Yeah.
What do you think about? They said that Rosario Dawson is going to play the Padawan.
Ahsoka
What's her
Tano,
name?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, she's
Ahsoka Tano.
we talked last time about her being my favorite Force user, and I think that's a really good move. I mean, she has a very similar look, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see though, like how they're going to age her because at the point in the Mandalorian, she'd be pretty old. But again, I
Yeah,
don't know like how old her race goes, like her alien race goes. So she may still be, fairly young because Rosario Dawson's fairly young.
Well,
And
and with the introduction of the dark saber in the Mandalorian,
right.
I mean, you got to think that she's at some point got a battle with this guy.
At some point, they're going to have to introduce lightsabers again.
Yeah,
Which she's well known for dual sabers that are white. And I will be curious to see though, because they've made this show very realistic as far as like movements of people. Um, they're not like doing all kind of Yoda flips all over the place.
yet,
But that was really her. Yet, but that's really her fighting style. Is very similar to that. So I'm
yeah.
curious to see how they'll transition to that. Will they keep it more like the gunslinger western that the first two seasons or the first season was, or will they, you know, I don't know. I'm curious to see how they'll do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, me too. It's there's going to be more storyline that comes out about what happened after the Empire fell. Obviously, I mean, we're going to learn more about how the dark saber ended up in this dude's hands. It kind of makes me wonder: is the path going to be that the dark saber is one day going to be wielded by the child?
right.
Will he be a quote unquote, Mandalorian slash
Hmm.
lightsaber wielder Yoda type character?
The one thing that I'm curious about with this new Clone Wars season, because now they've started to, and I don't want to give away too much, but they've picked back up on Ahsoka Tano's story, and I'm curious to see if at some point, since they are going to bring her, they've already said they're going to bring her into the Mandalorian show. I'm curious to see if they'll somehow connect the dots. If her time in the Clone Wars is to kind of transition her, like this is where she meets up with a Mandalorian race, or whatever it is. I'm curious to see if they'll connect those two dots, so that it makes more sense that she shows up in the Mandalorian show.
Yeah. Well, and I hope there's more discussion about why the dark saber is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a real big mystery. There's a lot of that in the expanded universe,
Yeah.
but I'm with you. I want them to signify like how that's important in this canon universe, and why, like you said, why does this guy have it? He's not he's an imperial
Well, and
general or whatever it is.
what's the significance of it having a void like color? It's a
Mm.
lack of color. It's not a color. It's not black. It is a
Yeah, it's
lack of
just
color.
right. It's the lack of light.
And supposedly, the symbolism of the color is supposed to be, if it's the red, obviously you're evil, and if it's the lighter colors, you're good. But if it's the whitish, then you're sort of neutral.
Right.
What is the dark? Is it
Right.
the symbolism of I'm
what
just
is the
out for
void?
me? Is that the
Right.
Mandalorian way of, this is the way?
Right. Yeah.
you know.
That's a great saying, by the way. They nailed that.
Yeah, I mean, you figure this whole season, the special effects were needed for the child, obviously,
Hmm.
and for some of the animals, but a lot of it, like you said, is just real actors in disguise or playing
In
parts or
costume, just
whatever.
moving around. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that part of it's really cool. I like the fact that they haven't made us suffer and read a lot of dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of series that we watch nowadays that there's all kind of subtext, and you got to be like, oh crap, let me get my reading glasses.
I know. What do they mean there?
Can't y'all
Jeez.
just fake like you're switching over to some voice thing, and now I can hear what you're saying? Because
Yeah.
I got after several seasons of watching Narcos and reading
Oh yeah.
Spanish, I was just like, page after page after page of you're just like, oh, I'm cross-eyed, man. I gotta have a break.
I know. I can always tell when I'm gonna enjoy not having to read subtitles. Like this morning with this movie Anna, a lot of the movie takes place in Russia, but every scene when somebody starts to speak a new language, like the person initiating the conversation, they always go, "Am I to understand that you speak English?" And they're like, "Yes." I'm like, "Oh, thank
Thank God,
God."
I couldn't keep this up for another hour.
I don't have to read subtitles for an hour.
Yeah. Well, I watched a show called Hannah. It had a young girl in it, like really young,
I've heard about this show, but I've never watched it.
and it's a similar idea. She's like an orphan that's trained her whole life to be an assassin. That's pretty good. I think that's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
But there's several of those movies that are based on that idea about
Right.
a
Yeah.
female assassin that's trained, in Russia, and then she's unleashed on the world, kind of deal.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, I guess that's all based on the Femme Nikita story.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but outside of that, I mean, I haven't really been watching a whole lot of new shows. Like I finished Ozark season 3, which was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
I was
you know,
not expecting that ending.
I was not either. In
Of
fact,
course,
I actually saw it going
every
the other way.
season, every single season is that way. Every season
Yeah.
it ends, you go, "Oh, I wasn't seeing that coming."
When the show first started, I wasn't super excited about it because, like, I love Jason Bateman, but I love him as a comedian. Like, he's funny. He's
Right.
he's a funny actor. Just his quirks and his antics, But after 2 episodes into that thing, I was like, he's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
he's done an incredible job.
Well, then you find
Um,
out that he's not only a creator, a writer, a director, producer, and actor on the show. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
oh, he's just like playing. He's like at Vegas. He's like, I'm all in, baby. Just
Yep, yep. Here's the chips. Let's go.
yeah. If we're gonna do this, let's do it. We're doing it my way, though. I was like, okay.
But outside of that, like I said, little by little that I can, I've been going back through The Sopranos. Just trying to, I was a fan of that show early on, but I never finished it. Um, and then like our dinner time show that we all watch together is Blue Bloods, because we're all big Tom Selleck fans.
Oh,
And Donnie Wahlberg. That's our mindless television. That's our Andy Griffith.
oh.
Is Blue Bloods.
Well, they always solve
Um,
it.
right, right, right. And that's another one of those though. Like like you said, there's like however many seasons of Andy Griffin. There's like 30 episodes per season. It's the same way with Blue Bloods. I thought we'd gone through it for like a year, and I'm like, oh, we got to be doing pretty good. And we were like halfway through season 2. I
Yeah.
mean, each season is like 30 episodes long. So
Yeah, I wanted to see that. There's a show. Is it Supernatural? Supernatural's got like
Supernatural.
15 seasons, and every season is like 20 or more episodes. I'm like, what?
Wow.
And they're an hour and a half. You're like, what?
Um, Michelle told me she has been watching a show that she's in love with, and it's one of those. I think it's a network show, and it's only like halfway. It's in its first season, and they did like a half season, and then they took a break, and then they're going to do another half.
Like the ranch,
What's that?
kind of like the ranch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Except this one, I want to say this is an hour-long show, but it was. Is it Edith's Extraordinary Playlist or Naomi's Extraordinary Playlist, something like that? Anyway, this girl, she has an accident, but every now and then she'll walk into a room or something like that, and she hears people's innermost feelings through song. Like when I happened to walk in to an episode the other day, this guy was feeling a lot of pain, and I guess like when she paused at the doorway, he is singing this rendition of Mad World, and it's beautiful. And the guy's like doing this incredible song, but that's how she perceives inner thoughts now. It's kind of out there, but it's a neat concept, and the music is really good. So
Yeah, that'd be where I pull the parachute and go, I'm out.
oh,
I watched Grey's Anatomy until they had a musical episode. Once they had the musical episode, I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I've never been a big fan of Grey's Anatomy.
What was?
I do like New Amsterdam though. That's a good one.
I mean, what was the idea of these shows that it's sort of like it's the moment to me like Happy Days where they decide to jump the shark.
I think
No.
with some of these shows, like with this one, it's kind of like bringing musical theater to
Yeah, I mean,
television.
I get the fact that there's talented singers and actors out there, but and you can't have High School the Musical with 30-year-olds, but
Right.
Well,
that would be the big thing.
I guess that's their hope is that someone will hear this and they'll have a music career after this.
Maybe, yeah. And oh well, we couldn't get them on stage, but we can put them in front of a camera.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, there is a lot of talented people out there, but I don't know. After the Netflix and Hulu and Amazon streaming bonanza that has gone on, you sort of look at regular TV and go, why are we still doing this?
I know.
Why are we still following these rules of, we got 5 minutes worth of drama and then we got to cut a commercial?
We have live TV, and like we literally bought it just so that we could watch football and basketball, so that we could have live sports. But now that's not going on. Like I never turn on Hulu Live ever.
Yeah.
Because there's no point. There's
Yeah.
no point in watching anything. I have watched some of these live concerts, but you can do that on YouTube. You don't have to have live television. So
Or on Facebook.
Right. Yeah. Or Facebook. So, we're considering getting rid of it just because, with no sports in the horizon, why would I need live TV?
Well, yeah, exactly. Why would you even need to bother? I mean, that's pointless.
Yeah.
Well, I've been asking a lot of people, what have you been doing to keep yourself active and keep yourself sort of, from going crazy with the quarantine. And some people have said they've, like you're talking about watching live concerts or, getting to watch a show or going outside a little bit with your kids. I mean, are you walking around the neighborhood? Or are you going to the store or?
So we do walk every day. Sometimes it's like if I go with the kids, it's just a short walk. Cadence 3, so he can't go very far. But then I have a route that I do with David throughout the neighborhood, and it's about a 4-mile route. I try to do that every day. A lot of hills and stuff. Obviously, being up here in the upstate, we try to limit going to the store. If we do have to go, one of us goes. It's usually me, and we are super overly cautious. And I think that's just because we have small children. So I wear the mask. When I get home, Michelle meets me at the front door. She takes all the groceries. I leave my shoes outside. I declothe and put my clothes in the wash machine. I go upstairs and immediately shower. And then I Lysol everything that was in the truck to try to just keep clean surfaces.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, because like right now we're not working this week because we're on, spring break. So they told us to unplug. They told the kids to do the same. So we haven't been doing any schoolwork this week, but that'll pick back up on Monday. But I've also been trying to learn to play the guitar because I have a great guitar. And I've been, I've just been kind of neglecting it, keep saying I don't have time. Well, now I got nothing but time.
Yeah.
So I read a thing the other day that said, you should try to come out of this whole deal with a new skill.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always wanted to learn to do. And I found a great instructor on YouTube that gives step-by-step lessons. He's been awesome. And his big thing, which is a thing that I tell my players, his big thing, he was like, just pick up your guitar 5 minutes every day for 2 months. And after 2 months, you hate it, then guitar's not for you.
Yeah.
He's like, but if you're picking it up for 5 minutes and then 5 minutes turns into 10 and then 20 and you find that you're loving it, and then just keep going.
That's the same with anything. That's what Joe Rogan talks about with writing jokes. He's like, I sit down and I make myself write, and I tell myself, just spend 10 minutes.
Yep.
And if I spend 10 minutes with it, sometimes 10 minutes turns into an hour, and I just make myself for 10 minutes pull out the pen and paper and go, all right, what's in my head?
Exactly. And then in addition to that, the new Final Fantasy VII remake has taken up an inordinate amount of my time. So
yeah, that looks really cool.
It's incredible.
I like you and I were talking about this last night, but I really like the way the cinematography looks gorgeous. It doesn't look like you're just watching a cutaway scene. It's beautiful the whole way through. And the ability to dodge attacks, to move out of the way and stuff like that. Just the interaction of the characters with their environment is really cool.
Being able to control the fighting is very unique. Being able to move around the battle scene as opposed to before when you were, it was just basically a battle movie and you were just selecting what to fight.
Yeah.
Now you're actually moving around the area and being able to, like you said, dodge attacks and block. And, it was very difficult to get used to at first because, the original game I've played through 4 or 5 times. And so when I turned this one on and you're actually clicking buttons to fight, I was like, oh, well, this is different.
Yeah, we my little group of friends, we always remember Greg had done the Chocobo races so many times because he wanted a Super Chocobo.
Yeah.
And then when he got one, he just kept racing over and over again because he enjoyed it so much. And he maxed out the time limit on it to 999 hours. Some crazy number that accumulated.
Right.
Like, you've maxed out your time. It's like, what?
Yeah. It's
I know you can do that.
the original game, I mean, like it's one of the greatest stories ever told in video games.
Yeah.
It's just that the graphics in the original game were horrendous.
Yeah. But the gameplay was so new at the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the fun was that you could keep replaying it
different.
Like you still enjoyed it because the action was interesting. The different attacks you could do was interesting, and it was unlike anything else at the time.
Yeah.
It was the game that sold PlayStation.
Yep.
I mean, I know originally it came out and they were trying to sell people on Crash Bandicoot, but not everybody was on board with Crash Bandicoot because while it was beautiful,
yeah.
I mean, it looked great, and it was the first time you had a 3D environment where you could move in all directions kind of deal, but you're basically running from a boulder that's going to crash into you.
Right. It was like, Sonic the Hedgehog meets Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Whereas this was more like an introduction to Zelda, which was like, I guess, the first concept of an open sandbox design where you could go in this direction or you can go in that direction. What do you want to do? And then you
Yeah.
interact with things in your environment, And it was really the first of its kind. And then there was miniature games throughout that you could learn to play that could entertain you for hours, like the
Yep.
Chocobo Race thing.
Yep.
I mean, it
And
wasn't essential that you do it, but you could do it and have a great time doing it.
I was trying to explain it to David the other day, because he asked me, he's like, well, why would you invest, 50 hours in a game that you've already beaten? Because I told him that I've played the original, I played it through 4 or 5 times. And I tried to explain to him that with the amount of people and characters that are playable in the game, you could play the game 8 different times and never play it the same way.
Yeah.
You could use different weapons, different materia, and different combinations of party members. I mean, it was.
When I was in the Marine Corps, there was a time where I was going through my divorce and I moved back into barracks. I had a PlayStation and a TV, and I had that game, and I just played that game over and over again, and I would see how quickly I could be defeated. I was like, what if I skip these steps? Can I skip these steps? And I was like amazed at the things I could skip.
Yeah.
To see how quickly I could get it done, But then of course it always turned to a thing towards the end, especially when you had that. I forget what the attack was, where it has the swords that fly around.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, this is so cool. And especially in the Marine Corps, you draw a crowd to you. And everybody's like, oh, this is that dude. He's going to do that thing, So it became like a fun thing for the crowd to get into as well.
Yeah.
But, I played it. I must have played it for months.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing I had to do.
Well, and I've actually, this is going to sound so silly, but I've actually put it on every PlayStation system I've had since PlayStation 1. So then I bought it you were able to convert PlayStation 1 games to PlayStation 2. So I played it on my PlayStation 2. And then I downloaded it for my PlayStation 3. And then I did the same thing for my PS4. I mean, it's that game that, for 23 years, it's never gotten old. Like, it's always been great.
Now, you were telling me that this game is going to be a lot longer than the first game?
So not only is it a lot longer, but it's going to be released in, like, different parts. So the game that I have now, and for those that have, like, played Final Fantasy VII, when this story ends, it's about – everything I've read online, it's about 45 to 50 hours worth of gameplay. But this particular remake, part 1, will end when the group leaves Midgar, which is like the initial city. So once you leave the initial city, then this game is going to end. Now, in the original game, which was a 3-disc game, when you left Midgar, you were only about halfway through disc 1. So this game, they say, could be anywhere from 3 to 4 parts, and they're going to release them. And so they're hoping to release them like once every year, once every other year, something like that. I know they're already working on part 2. With hopes of releasing it in 2021. I think I read online the other day. But nobody knows how far that one's going to go.
Yeah.
So this one, one of the big things that I liked about the original game is the open world map and being able to explore these new towns and stuff like that. But you're not going to get to do that in this first part of the remake. But the gameplay is fantastic. Yeah. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, I remember what was it? I think it was a fighting game that came out. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like the first time that you could, like, if you normally, when you had a fighting game, you have 2 people on either side, more like Mortal Kombat, just
right.
Right. And there was a fighting game, I forget the name of it, where you could actually move to the side if someone jumped at you. You're like,
oh yeah, now the camera started to turn it on an axis. Yeah.
And so looking at the advancement of that over the years and how this game looks on the TV, I've been watching Draven's on Twitch. His handle is AVAKITII, and I'm watching him play this, and not only are you moving the camera around at all kinds of ways to avoid attacks, but you can switch to other characters. So you're looking at it this way, and then you can switch to this character, and it's like it Matrix moves the camera, and you're like, whoa, then you're looking at it from this angle. It's like, oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
So it's neat, the options that it's given you, and it sort of makes you wonder, like, the next step, if it's going to be the Oculus type design where you're virtual reality in it, and you're running around in your living room trying to battle and stuff like that, and you might have to have like a room with nothing in it so you don't hurt yourself.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But
We're
yeah, I
gonna
mean,
get
it's
to we're gonna get to a point where gamers, instead of buying chairs, are gonna be buying houses with a blank room.
or like Ready Player One, where you have like a omnidirectional pad that you stand on.
That movie is so great. I love
Isn't it
that.
cool?
That is such a cool movie.
I kind of want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, yeah. I've watched it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I guess it's you have to sort of grow up with a joy for that kind of stuff in order to really get how cool it is. I mean, in a way, I mean, if you grew up in the '80s or whatever, you would enjoy a lot of the movie references. But the gameplay, being
hmm
involved in life is sort of interesting. But it also makes you wonder. There is a theory that all of this is a simulation that we're living right now.
right.
It
I
makes
have
you
heard that.
wonder. I mean, because they're getting closer and closer to making everything look so real. There's moments in our own life where we go, did I just have a glitch?
The deja vu. Is that?
Is that deja vu? Did that just happen, or am I replaying this? I don't know. Kind of
Yeah,
cool to think about.
yeah. I agree. Yep.
But anywho, well, I'm not gonna keep you, man. I know you got the day off and whatnot, and I'm kind of curious about our time. Hey, look, that's over 50 minutes.
Hey, no, yeah, they're good.
It didn't stop recording, so I guess that little prompt that it gave us says everything's fine.
Nice.
This is pretty cool. I like using Zoom. I haven't used Skype yet. I mean, we could do that next time if you want to play with that.
I've done Skype
Um,
before. This actually seemed to be a little bit more streamlined.
yeah,
So
it looks great. I mean, I guess your internet's very high because yours isn't glitching at all. Um, I mean, when I was on with Treadaway, his was a little glitchy.
don't tell
Uh,
anybody, but mine says 5G. So
mm. Are you growing one of those extra horns out of your back?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's the
Mhm.
that's the whole plot. Oh, it's gonna ruin us. It's gonna cause a third
It,
nipple on our forehead.
it caused a virus to happen.
Yeah, crazy.
Dummies.
Those are the same people that believe in the flat Earth.
Right.
The anti-vaxxers. They know who they are.
Sigh.
Oh, you're talking about coming to the door and like handing stuff off to Michelle. We had a thing at work where they were having to get rid of some food that was close dated, so they had frozen some fresh meats,
Right.
and they were like, do you guys want a discounted price? We're just trying to get rid of the stuff before it goes out of date. So I offered it to Mom and Dan, and they were like, yeah, we want to get some chicken and some this and that. And I was like, okay. So when I brought it by, they were both standing. It was weird because how Mom normally is.
Yeah.
She's standing way away, and she's got a mask on like this,
Yeah.
and Dan's over here, and he's got a mask on like this, and they go, "Just put it down, and we'll get it." And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. I
"Okay."
mean, for especially, because she says, I mean, we've talked about this, that it's pretty serious.
Yeah,
And for her being immunocompromised, I mean, it is kind of a big deal. And plus, they're looking out for you with Dan being in the hospital every day. And
yeah, but I mean, she's also going into the work. I
oh
mean,
yeah, she's at Hope Health every Monday. Yeah.
I'm like, why are you still there? You could tell them, "Hey, I'm immunocompromised." She goes, "Because I'm
Right.
needed." I was like,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
"Okay."
Yeah.
Which,
I said,
I mean, I hate to be dark, but if she went that way, it'd be the perfect way for her because she'd be like, "I died doing what I love."
well, when she told me the first time she told me she was going, I just told her I was proud of her.
Yeah,
Because that's exactly what she's
you
lived for.
worry.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But it's
But
but it's like I was in the Marine Corps. If I died, in battle, you'd be like, well, what did you sign up for? I mean,
right,
if
right. I
you're
mean,
immunocompromised and you're needed in the healthcare industry and you go in and you work and something happens, you go, okay. I mean, I get it.
well, Mom's mission has always been to help people, and that's what
Yeah,
she's trying to do. So,
patient care, number one, patient
yep,
care.
that's exactly right.
So, all right, man. Well, I'm gonna
Well,
wrap this
cool.
up.
All
Appreciate
right.
you coming on and being a part of the podcast, and thank you for
Absolutely. I
sending me
appreciate you being on again.
thank you for doing the photos and
Thanks for the shirts, man. They were great.
yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Have you had a chance to go check out the website yet?
I did. I'd love to see the alien on a white shirt. That would be awesome. If
Really?
I didn't yeah, I think that would be like if it was just like the alien on white, I think that would be pretty neat.
Like the one you have now, but with the black headphones and mask, or the alien one that's colored?
The alien one that's colored.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that would
but
be pretty cool.
I can design those and have them available on that Store Frontier site.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I dig all the designs. The octopus thing was cool. I like that. I think we're gonna try to order a couple of shirts.
the alien head one, that was the first one that I had done through their extension from Terminus Tees to Store Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, listen, we know you guys are going through a hard time, and we are too, and we don't want to just make stuff that you're not going to be able to get rid of. So how about we open up this virtual site, and if you guys come up with a design and can sell it, then we'll split the profits. And I'm like,
Nice.
cool. So I had a lot of people ask about that colored alien head design when I put it up on Instagram, and I was like, well, I
Yeah.
wonder if I made a shirt. That was the first one I made, and I didn't realize that you can select multiple colors for the shirt and multiple sizes and multiple
Gotcha.
like you can have like a regular unisex T-shirt, a women's shirt, V-neck, hoodie, sweatshirt, kids' clothes, all kinds of options. I was like, I didn't even know it was possible to do that. So I did that for the octopus one, and I did that for the stuff she said.
Oh yeah, with the bow. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, well, right away. I mean, they're not going to buy. I mean, if there's any ladies out there that want the shirt, they're not going to buy a unisex shirt. They're going to buy one that's made for them.
Gotcha.
So I just put it out there for everything, and I thought, well, we'll just see what happens. I mean, there's nothing wrong with just trying something.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, I can go back and I can remake that colored alien head and put it on more options, and
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I didn't offer any in white because I
And it
had
may
a
not.
conversation, huh?
It may not look good. I mean, sometimes white shirts turn out great, and sometimes they don't.
Well, I mean, I had made the comment about doing these shirts that you got in white, and Dolores made a comment. She goes, "How many white shirts do you own?" And I was like one, and she goes, "And why is that?" I go, "Because I make a mess." And she's like, "Yeah, so does everybody else." She's like, "Everybody makes a mess. People prefer a darker shirt."
True.
Like,
That's true. That's a good point.
I didn't think about that.
That's a good point.
But,
I never thought about it like that.
there is a part of me that wants to, like, there is a part where you go, you hear the verbiage, you wear black because it's slimming, you wear black because of this, you wear black because of that. And then you get a little older and you're like, yeah, but I like colors. Why can't I wear red? Why can't I wear blue? Why can't I wear something that's crazy looking? I mean, you think about Bill Cosby with his wild sweaters on and how it's all, glamorized now. It's like ugly sweater day. It's like, why can't I wear something crazy? I like colors,
Yeah.
So I want to offer colors out there, but at the same time, I'm like, there is that background, notion of, yeah, but is it cool?
Well, yeah, like what are people going to buy?
Yeah, I mean, does anybody care about a green shirt, really? I mean,
Yeah, I think I own like one green shirt.
But out there's some redhead who's like, I just love green. It really makes my hair look great.
Right.
Like, okay, I get it.
It makes me feel like Christmas.
Yeah, makes me feel happy. Green makes me happy. I have a lot of green shirts. I don't know why.
There you go.
I guess green makes me happy.
I have a lot of red because the school that I coach at is red and black. So.
Plus, red.
Red.
You're very light skinned, so it blends in with your skin color when you get suntanned.
Oh. That's why. That's why.
Yeah, he sort of blends in.
Yeah.
You're more of a summer.
more of a pastel.
I never understood that. I'm more of an autumn. You're like, what?
What?
You're more of a flake is what you are.
No, your name's Jim.
Yeah, I never understood any of that. Of course, fashion's never been my thing.
Yeah.
I was so happy my wife got girlfriends late in life because I was sick and tired of her taking me shopping and going, what do you think of this? I'm like, fit. Looks good, I guess. She's like, no, it doesn't. It looks awful. I'm like, I mean, what do you want from me?
Look, I said it looked good. Okay, what do you want?
I meant to do a lot of things. This is not one of them. Oh, well. But anyway, appreciate you hanging out, bud.
Yeah, absolutely.
To everybody out there listening, because I will release this audio, please remember to rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends. If you're watching this on YouTube, tell me what you think about the visual of this and the audio also, because we're doing this as a new thing and just kind of see what works. And this is using Zoom. While we're doing this, it gave us a prompt saying that they're lifting the 40-minute restriction, which is awesome. And who knows, this may be something I do in the future because this is a good way for us to hang out when you're, 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So it might be worthwhile to do in the future. Maybe a selling point. Yeah, we'll give them a try first and then they'll like it and then they'll want to have it,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So please remember to rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends. And as always, do you want to say it?
No, you go ahead.
Cue the cow!